All right, guys, welcome into my YouTube channel. We're going to work on editing the name, going to come up with something clever, but I've started the GA Scumbags podcast a while ago with the buddy Noah, and we're talking about Duke football. And I'm going to do a little series on my personal account where I kind of preview every single team individually and kind of give predictions for the season. So let's start with my team, the Duke Blue Devils. Coming off an 8-5 season last year where a lot of good, but when you look at who we lost, head coach Mike Elko, he's gone to Texas A&M. Starting quarterback Riley Leonard, who was after the first 3 weeks of the season in Heisman talk, he is now off to Notre Dame. Uh, Lead running back Jordan Waters headed out to NC State. Starting tackle Graham Barton, guard Jacob Monk, and defensive tackle Dwayne Carter are all in the NFL now. And defensive tackle Jamian Franklin, he finally graduated. And defensive tackle Aeneas Peebles is off to Virginia Tech. So lost a lot. And really, we lost more than that. It was pretty senior heavy team. We lost quite a few pieces in the portal, but that just means we're a young football team. Now, when you lose stuff in today's era, you got to replace it. So coming in behind those replacements, Manny Diaz is coming in from Penn State, former Miami head coach. He was the defensive coordinator for a few years up there in Happy Valley. We got a quarterback in from Texas by the name of Malik Murphy. He'll be a stud one day. Running back Star Thomas comes in from New Mexico. Javon Harvey transfers in from Old Dominion. Bruno Fina is coming in from UCLA to play offensive line, joined by fellow offensive lineman from Northwestern, Zach Franks. Kendi Charles is going to be a defensive lineman coming in from Liberty. Alex Howard, a linebacker transfer from Texas A&M, and Trishawn Devons is transferring in from Rice as a defensive back. So, I mean, when you look at it, added some really solid pieces there. I think Mandy's going to be a really good head coach. He won at Miami. Credit, it's Miami, a lot more resources. Having a good defense at Penn State. Duke's a whole different ball game, different challenge. Malik Murphy saw a little bit of limited action at Texas last year. Looked okay. He's just very inexperienced and raw, but he's got all the potential in the world. Star Thomas will be a really solid running back up to Jaquez Moore. Javon Harvey, I think, is a sneaky, sneaky stud playmaker. Fina and Franks will start right away on the offensive line. Look for them to anchor one side of it together. Kendi Charles, I would assume, is going to be an edge rusher for us, but he's posted great numbers at Liberty. Alex Howard was a 4-star recruit at linebacker. I'm glad to have him. And Trishawn Devons had a great year at Rice. He'll be a nice, experienced defensive back in the secondary. Now, of course, we're bringing some people back from last year's team. So that being said, some of the key guys to look out for coming back. You got running back Jaquez Moore, wide receiver Jordan Moore, wide receiver Eli Paincoll, tight end Nicky Dalmolin, Wesley Williams on the defensive line, Vincent Anthony Jr. on the defensive line, linebackers Trey Freeman and Nick Morris Jr., cornerback Chandler Rivers, safety Jalen Stinson, and kicker Todd Polino. Now, Jaquez Moore was last year's backup running back, and he saw, I believe it was exactly 60 less carries than Jordan Waters. So he's got plenty of experience. I think he's got over 300 carries in his career. Jordan Moore led the team receiving last year. Eli Paincoll's back, missed all of last year injured, so this is his last season. He'll be a sixth year. Nicky Dalmolin, a really old, experienced veteran tight end. In this new offense we've got, expect him to have a lot more chances to show how good of a playmaker he is. I think Wesley Williams is poised for a breakout year. He came on strong during the last 4 or 5 games last season. Trey Freeman is going to end up going to play in the NFL. It's just a matter of when. And Chandler Rivers and Stinson are really going to have to anchor our secondary down. And Todd Polino might be one of the best underrated kickers in the nation. So now, previewing the schedule we've got coming up this year for the Blue Devils. On Friday, August 30th, we open up our season with a home game against the Phoenix of Elon University. Following that, we will travel to Northwestern, then a home game with UConn. Then we go on the road to Middle Tennessee before hosting the North Carolina Tar Heels. Following that game, we go to Georgia Tech. We get a bye week, and then we play Florida State at home on a Friday night. Then we get another home game with SMU and round out playing 3 of the last 4 on the road in the season with back-to-backs at Miami and NC State. Senior night will be at home against Virginia Tech, and we end the season, as always, against Wake Forest, but this time it'll be in Winston-Salem. So before I give my thoughts on the schedule, just a quick rundown. If you see red, that means Duke's got a 70% chance of higher or winning in my book. Blue means I see it as a 50-50 game. Green means Duke's got around a 25% chance to win. And if it's orange, I really don't think Duke's got much of a shot. So we'll start with Elon. Of course, Elon, Duke should have a 90% chance to win. That should almost be a lock, but you never know. FCS still. At Northwestern, that's going to be a tricky game. I'll put that at 50-50. UConn, Middle Tennessee State, I don't think either one of those should give Duke fits. However, at Middle Tennessee, the week before UNC, you never know. UNC 50, I think they're going to be down. Duke's going to be down kind of. We've lost 5 in a row. It's going to be a good game. At Georgia Tech, whenever Duke and Georgia Tech play, those are weird football games. So I'm going to put that at 50-50. And then we get to the Florida State game, and I don't think Florida State's going to be the Florida State of last year, but I just don't see a world where Duke's got enough horses to keep up with the Seminoles. The SMU game, I'll put that at 50-50. SMU transitioning from the American Athletic to Power 4 this year in the ACC. Always a little bit of a bump in the road there. At Miami, I don't see a path for Duke in that one either. Every year there's the Miami's back train, and I've been cautious to avoid it. I'm all over the Miami train this year. I think they're going to be really, really good. At NC State, I wanted to put this 50-50 because it's a rivalry game, and I always like putting rivalry games 50-50. But when I look at State's roster with Conception and Waters at running back now, and they're bringing in Grayson McCall, and as long as Gibson's there, that defense is going to be really good. I don't. Oh, Duke's got a shot, so I'll put that at 25% or higher. At Vatech or at home against Vatech on senior night, again, kind of the same thing. Virginia Tech's really, really improving under Brent Pry. They're getting back to the Virginia Tech of old. They're going to be a smash mouth physical team, and I don't think Duke's going to adapt to playing that kind of ball very well. So, and then at Wake Forest, I'll give us above a 75% chance. Here lately, the series has been really competitive, a lot of back and forths, but I think Wake's a year or two away still from being back where they were. And I love Coach Clawson. Don't get me wrong, but I just think they're a year or two out. So when we get to projected wins, of course, I'm projecting that Duke will beat Elon, UConn, Middle Tennessee, and Wake. Now, losses, I see equally 4 losses. I see losses with Virginia Tech, NC State, Miami, and FSU. So that leaves 4 games that we would deem toss-ups or 50-50. At Northwestern, at Georgia Tech, versus UNC, versus SMU. So when you look at it that way, I've got 4 wins, 4 losses, and 4 games that you really don't know for Duke, which means there's a whole lot of interesting things that could happen here. So I've put their best case scenario this year is going to be about 9-3. Worst case scenario for Duke is probably around the 4-8, maybe 3-9 season. I'm going to go right out and say 7-5. I think we beat Elon 44-14. I think Northwestern is very underrated and very good. Going there on a Friday night, I'll take the home team to win 21-17 in a close one. UConn, I think we will beat by 14, coming off the Northwestern loss, come back home. At Middle Tennessee, I don't think we'll blow them out. I think kind of be looking ahead to that UNC game, and that could cost us a little bit, but I'll take a 28-10 win. UNC, I think this is the year we get them. This has to be the year you catch UNC or Duke. They're going to be the most down they've been, and they're still not going to be what's the word I'm looking for here? Overly terrible, but they're gettable. We go to Georgia Tech again. Like I said, weird things happen in Bobby Dodd Stadium. Weird things happen when Duke and Georgia Tech play. I'll take the Jackets by 4. We turn around, get Florida State at home off the bye week on a Friday night. Again, like I said, I don't think Duke's got the horses to keep up with Florida State. I think they pull away late. The SMU game, I wanted to go with a higher score than this because I think this could be the game of the year in the ACC in terms of watchability. I think Duke is really explosive on offense, and SMU is going to be equally explosive on offense, but I'll take 38-31 Duke wins. Going to Miami, usually I would take a blowout here. for the Canes. But I think Manny Diaz in the Diaz revenge game is going to have a little extra something, but I don't think it's enough. So I'll take Miami to win 35-30 against the Devils at NC State. Again, rivalry game. I think State's really good. I think Duke can give them a game. I don't think Duke's got enough, and State wins 31-21. Coming off of two straight losses, and then you get a smash mouth, aggressive, physical Virginia Tech team after you've played. The Miami game will have a lot of energy for Diaz. State game is going to have a ton of energy, and I think Virginia Tech will be just drained and exhausted to play smash mouth Virginia Tech. I think they'll just come in and just control the game and wear us down and take that one 21-10. And I'll say we get right to end the season against Wake Forest and win that one by 9 points, 30-21, to end the year at 7-5, which would be really respectable for the Blue Devils this year.